You know, I don't know if you guys felt the same way when you guys first saw the video footage of the guy on Nancy's front porch. The first thing that came to my mind is I just want to know what the mastermind, which is definitely not this guy. Okay, that is not the mastermind behind this whole thing. Okay, the mastermind must be sweating buckets right now seeing this footage. Okay, cursing the day that he designated this crotch holster guy here as the front doorman. And our working theory has changed just a tad just by seeing this guy's mannerisms and how long he is actually lingering there on the front porch. When he first walks up, okay, there is a flash, and I'm pretty convinced that he has a small light, either pinched between his teeth or his lips. Well, he'll use it again when he grabs the shrubs, okay, and we'll point it out. Some people says that maybe it's just a infrared thing bouncing off maybe his gold tooth or something like that. But I think it's a flashlight, and it's going to be pretty apparent once I point it out, okay? So first, I will say, doesn't it appear that he was about to knock on the door before noticing the camera? Okay, that alone tells us that this guy has probably not been on this property before. It's either that or he just completely misjudged where the camera was. Okay, so when he does pay attention to the camera, he tries to block the lens. Now, how does someone block a very tiny lens, okay, so poorly that we can still see everything that he's doing? Okay, again, the mastermind is out there somewhere, and he's with that left hand, as you can see, he is trying to do something with the camera. Maybe he's looking for an off button. Who knows what this guy is thinking about, okay? Maybe he's trying to remove it and not being able to get a good grip on it. What he attempts is beyond words, okay? You can see him, he's just loafing around looking for anything. You can see right here that he uses that flashlight in bursts to see what's on the ground, okay? So MacGyver over here grabs some shrubs. Now, be honest. Would you ever imagine that when he saw that it was a Nest camera, that he would attempt to build one on it? Regardless, we know that this will fail for the very fact that we find the Nest camera completely ripped out in photos, okay? And this is all the FBI is willing to release right now, okay? They had a lead on some guy who lived 60 miles away in, Rico, Rio, that turns out to be a delivery man, so that could account for that package that was on Nancy's doorsteps when the pictures of the blood droplets, were seen. Now, looking at this guy, I mean, really, those eyes could really fit what was under that ski mask. But this guy is a delivery man, so his routes might have taken him to Nancy. And, you're doing dozens of deliveries a day. You're not going to pay too much attention to the houses that you're at. But it appears that he was free and cleared, from all the interviews that he gave afterwards. Seeing the footage of this guy, it really almost shattered some preconceived ideas I had about this operation, okay? It altered my working theory a bit, but then I thought about it. This guy is definitely not being brought on to this caper with the idea that he will have some, profound insight on how it should go down. He doesn't hold his gun, right, bumbling around the front porch, pretty much unprepared for a world that almost every house has a door cam, which leads me to believe that he was literally hired as muscle, okay, to hang out on the front porch until that front door opens. And I would not be surprised if all they paid this guy was maybe a few $100 and some McDonald's. So in my initial working theory, I had both of the culprits on the front porch where they would quickly rip out that Nest camera because they knew it was already there, and then they would stealthily head towards the backyard. Now, seeing this footage, it appears that this guy is supposed to stay right there in the front, considering how it looks like he is just in no rush to be anywhere else. So this is how it's altered, my working theory. Okay, so to start, I'll say that this still is an inside job, because if this is not a kidnapping and ransom, what else could it be? There was no burglary, no proof of life, at this point. I could only see Nancy's net worth being the target here, okay? I mean, her house alone being 1.1 million has to be inheritance and or life insurance and or just basic hatred, okay? I would just say, what burns more than a family member that makes you feel lesser maybe than you believe that you are, you know? In my opinion. So that remains the same. Now, in this picture, I believe we can see the driveway pretty clearly, and you can see that there are no vehicles there, and that still fits our theory that they parked on the street so as not to leave any tire marks, you know, on the sandy driveway. Now, definitely multiple culprits, in my opinion, possibly 3, okay? One waiting in the van. We're going to call this guy the front man here, and in this theory, there is a guy heading to the back as this guy is bumbling around in the front. We're going to call that guy the leader, unless video comes out to prove us otherwise again, okay? So while this guy is here, the leader is heading to the back, and he is going to scale the wall. And as we can see in the pictures, that wall does not look too very hard to scale. He finds it very easy to get into the back door, whether he has to just give it a great nudge, or in our other theory, the more damning theory, is that somebody left it open on purpose. And that's up for you to decide, or basically just watch the previous video. But anyways, now if the front man has a gun, then definitely the leader has one as well. So the leader rushes to the front door to let the front man in, and to be honest, okay, I think the leader sees what this front man was doing with the shrubs, and the leader just takes out the butt of his gun and just breaks the Nest camera out of its housing. Seeing what the front man was doing in the front door, where there is a camera, might have given the leader a heart attack right then and there, except in our scenario, the leader is also privy to certain informations like there is no subscription for this camera, so there will be no saved footage, right? It's only for live streaming, which makes what the FBI did all that more impressive. And you know that a few people out there are pooping their pants right now. So, okay, so shortly after breaking the Ring camera, letting in the front man, they head off to Nancy's room, and the poor 84-year-old woman wakes up to a gun pointed at her by 2 masked men. Of course, she is terrified. Her blood pressure is through the roof, and her heart is beating faster than her pacemaker. Now, here's basically where it's hard to think about, right? We know that Nancy has a hard time moving in general. Now, we don't know the level of fight she is going to put up. We don't know if she is already ready to meet her maker in this situation. However, we do know that there is blood on the porch that looks like it was leading up to the streets. And now we also know that these guys have guns. If it's not a ransom, not a burglary, then Nancy is not meant to survive this night. And as we know, there has been no proof of life provided. And in one of the videos that I watched, a former FBI agent said, and he said it with his chest, that in the history of ransom and kidnappings, if there's no proof of life, that person has never come back alive. So I will just say that whatever condition Nancy is in when the 2 men carry her out, she is bleeding. And I think that when maneuvering her out that front door, she is turned in a way where, you know, some of the blood drips. They quickly turn her back, and then they carry her away into the van. And that is the working theory. The underlying mastermind behind this whole situation has to have a clear benefit to all this, right? Now, I sat at my computer and I started comparing those eyes to these eyes, you know, where the nose bridge is, the almond eyes, very feminine eyes, it appears. Now, a lot of people feel that these here are his eyebrows, but I kind of think that's just shadow from his ski mask. But it could be, and it could be just partially his eyebrows from under that mask. Some even say that it could be a woman, and that's perfectly possible, right? The walls are closing in on the culprits, okay? The FBI has way more stuff than they're willing to share, and if you think about it, they haven't told us much at all about what they found in the house even. I've never seen a picture of the back door. Early on, a lot of things were misreported, so a lot of things get jumbled, okay? So, well, like I quoted, in the last video, let's not listen to what they say, and let's just sit back and watch what they do if we are to garner anything from this case, because hey, the first shoe has dropped, as they say, and things are about to get cracked wide open. So in the meantime, go protect the ones that you love, and don't you ever forget to love the ones that protect you.